Good morning and welcome out to the No Time to Waste podcast studio. I am your guide, Marcus Murray, and I just have to say thank you for joining and welcome aboard. Today, we're going to be talking about baby boomers, business owners, and best employees. The reason is that the majority of us typically don't get an opportunity to invest in updated information and personal development, self improvement, things of that nature. We're kind of going along to get along. And I want to challenge everyone today, whether you are a baby boomer that is in or getting ready to enter into retirement, business owner, or if you're the absolute best employee of the year, wherever it is that you work. I want to challenge you with a thought that the only person that will be able to take care of you and provide for you in the future is the you that you are currently today. And in order to make it happen, we're going to have to invest in information, in training, knowledge, self development, self improvement, and awareness. We're going to have to invest in awareness so that we can actually maximize our future. So we're going to start first with the baby boomers. In an episode or two ago, and I'm really excited. We've got some good content. This past week, I had an opportunity to interview the amazing author of Silence the Lion, Noelle Borgia, and her husband, Sam Borgia. So incredible. That will be up. They're looking at it and making certain that everything's great. And you should see that this week. This week, also, I've got an extraordinary opportunity. I'll be sitting down with one of the greats that was very responsible for creating the Motown sound. This is a gentleman that is highly recognized all around the world and rarely ever interviewed. And it's going to be amazing. And I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. In addition to that, we've got some amazing, amazing content that I believe is going to really help you as we try and guide people and steer them in the right direction as it relates to maximizing the years and the time that we all have left. Remember, we've only been given so much time on the planet, and that's why our podcast is No Time to Waste. So our goal is to provide you with information and just content that will help you become more aware of the importance of seizing the day and seizing every moment, maximizing everything and wasting nothing. So today we're going to start with the baby boomers. And the reason is because obviously I'm closely aligned to the baby boomers. Being married now for just over 30 years, 31 to be exact, you start thinking a little bit differently. You start thinking about the future in a very different way. You start paying attention to people that are ahead of you on the pendulum of time, and you also are observant of those that are coming behind. What I would challenge you with today is to take time. Remember, one part of this journey is journaling. Take time to journal. If you are not writing down the critical moments, the ahas, and those insights that come to us, if you're not writing those down, you have a high probability of forgetting it. It's so important. And if you forget something that you've heard, you have to wait a period of time before that information comes back again. So we want to journal and write down the ideas and the thoughts and the things that come to mind. So this past week, as I'm getting ready for our last of three children to head off to college, it's really incredible because you start realizing that time moves on whether we move on or not. And we literally have to get ready. So I've started looking at the information that comes to all of our homes from AARP and the Department of Social Security. And I realized something. We've heard the term a contract with the devil. We've heard that term before. I would submit to you that the contract, the Social Security contract that is offered in the United States, not well funded, but at least it's mentioned and offered, you don't really fully access it until you reach the age of 66, which is a critical number, which we'll come back to in a moment. But that particular contract, from the time that a person qualifies at their early 60s, 62, starting at the age of 62, that contract actually asks that you resign from your ambition and your entrepreneurism, that you basically dial it down, slow down, back up, and you're in essence taking, I would equate it to like a vow of poverty. You're basically saying that in order for me to access this money that you're offering me, I'm going to have to stop being a productive contributor to the society and the economy at large. Because if you are productive and you make money, and I'll tell you the numbers for until you reach what's called FRA, they call it full retirement age, which I call financial reduction acceleration, really is what it is. But until you reach full retirement age, you're in this period from the age of 62 to the age of 66 where you are punished for making money, and that is a scary thing. So, in order to get the full benefit that they've offered, you have to agree to make less money than what you're able to make in order that you receive the full handout or the full benefit that they're offering. That's not necessarily a good thing. If a person's in poor health, maybe. But if a person still has health, which health is one of your greatest assets, so that's why it's so important, the food that we eat, the supplements that we take, whatever it is that we put into our bodies, and the exercise that we're getting. Those things are critical because you are your greatest asset, period. Money is great, a home is great, but the greatest asset is your physical health and mental well being. That is your greatest asset. And that is the thing that's going to provide for you, that's going to fuel the engine of your future. So, in this vow or this agreement that you make with Social Security, this vow of poverty, you basically say, I'm going to defer hair care, if you're a woman, hair, nails, petties, manis, all that stuff. I'm going to forego hair treatment and making certain that those things are in place. I'm also going to forego living where I want to live, living in the home I want to live in, living, driving the car that I want to drive, traveling. I'm going to forego all of that so that I can maximize a handout. I would submit that Social Security is a safety net. It's not, it's not a mainstay. It was developed as a safety net for retirees, for people that were no longer able to generate and produce in the society at large. It's simply a safety net. But what was originally designed as a safety net through common culture has become perceived to be like a security blanket. And it isn't. A safety net is different than a security blanket. You are the only person that can provide the warmth of the security blanket. You have to prepare now. But the safety net, just by virtue of the words, if we think about a net, you can use a net to go fishing. When you're bait fishing, where you throw the bait out and you have a net down and you pull a net up, and as you pull the net up, the fish remain in the net, all the water comes through. It's only a net. A net cannot keep us warm. A security blanket of warmth and security, knowing that all is well, that I can travel, that I can continue to live the lifestyle that you've determined you want to live, that has to be created by you. Why is that important? Number one, in order to access the full Social Security benefit, you have to agree to reduce your global footprint. Basically, shrink your home, shrink your assets, shrink your car, shrink everything. That is why, if you take a look, one of the largest industries right now are happen to be senior development communities. So these communities where a senior citizen can go, a senior citizen being a person that is literally 62 years old. That's crazy. That's what they call a senior citizen, 62. At 62, you are in the best point of your life. At 62, it's crazy. You still have 30 to 35 years ahead of you. So 62 is not an end point. So it's not the time to start thinking about retreating from success. This is the time to go all in because you have the skill set, you have the wisdom, you have the knowledge, you have the experience, you have the relationships. It is you. You were one of the pioneers. You're one of the ones that pushed through when things were bad. You've gone through a recession, probably some a depression, so many things. You've experienced it and you came through. That means you have a wherewithal that the majority of people in America today do not have because they've never experienced suffering. Now. Don't pack up now. You are not done. This is actually only the beginning. And I want to challenge you with this. The concept of accepting social security between the ages of 62 and 66 and agreeing to allow them to claw back your benefit. What? I believe that if you are approaching 60, this is the time that you should be looking at what type of home-based business can you get involved in. There are tons of them. They're all over the place. Become a student of learning about home-based businesses until you find the exact right one that meets the need that you have. Now, I want to just add one last thing to the concept of reaching the age of 66. Once you get to 66, that's a very critical year because you are now at what they consider full retirement age. At that point, if you are 66, you should go all in. You should outlearn everyone around you. You should outpace everyone around you. You should outserve everyone around you. And actually, you should outwork everyone around you. The reason why is at full retirement age, there's no reduction in any of those benefits. But if you fell for the trap at age 62 and begin to change the mind and start thinking in a different way, then you could actually have created a moment of downturn in your motivation, your energy, your enthusiasm, and you cannot allow that to happen. So, one of the things that I wrote, obviously, I've got a ton of notes here, is that you want to outpace them. And if you can outpace those around you, believe it or not, the people that live the longest are the people that are the most active. So if you will outpace your peers, more likely than not, you'll outlive them. The people that are living the longest are the people that are the busiest. The people that are laid back and relaxed, for some reason, they accidentally check out. When a person is laid back and relaxed, they can go to sleep, they can be sitting on a bus, it's the weirdest thing, and they just leave. The people that are working all the time, the people that are busy all the time, the people that are serving all the time, the people that are learning all the time, the people with the full calendars, full agendas, those people, I hate to say it, it's almost like they're too busy to go. Become one of those people. Now, I told you I was going to talk to some business owners today, and this is really important. The book that I'm going to recommend is From Good to Great, and this is by Jim Collins. This book is powerful, and I'm going to encourage each business owner that's watching. The majority of business owners are in our age category, so this definitely applies to you. In business ownership, all money is not good money. I wrote a symbol, ALL dollar sign equals slash out good. All money is not good money. The reason that it's important to know that is as a business owner, it's not just about doing business. So many people talk about being a business owner or being in business. But what does that actually mean? There is a responsibility that comes with business ownership that is very different than normal. especially now. The bar has been raised because in this country, not in some countries around the world, in some countries around the world that may be underdeveloped, the bar is lower, and the bar for business access may be high in those countries, but the customer satisfaction index is lower, and that's because America happens to be an advanced economy, but the same expectation is prevalent in all of the advanced economies. People are expecting that a level of excellence from businesses that is not expected in third world countries. So, for example, in Dubai, the experience that you expect when you are a resident in Dubai is far greater than the experience that you expect when you're in Colombia. When you're in Dubai, you are expecting the best of everything, the finest of everything, the best presentation, the best taste, the best experience, the best customer service. That is why several of the resorts, even in Mexico, are being touted as some of the best resorts in the world because they've actually gone out and they've studied the importance of providing good customer service and consumer satisfaction. Basically, they decided to go from good to great. This is what we all have to do in our families, in our personal lives, in our businesses. Good is okay, but great is the only thing that will allow a company to survive. So I'm going to talk about some points of being a good business owner, that your company have good corporate citizenship. And what does that mean? It means ethical behavior on the corporate landscape. That means that your company, whatever company you own or run, that company has to operate at a level of ethical stewardship that is unquestioned. The reason why is uh, there's a moral responsibility when a company chooses to put themselves out and to provide goods or services to the citizens at large, there's a moral responsibility to do the best at all times. And it's actually a prerequisite. Moral authority and moral responsibility are critical in good corporate citizenship. So most people want to be a moral authority, but they don't want to accept moral responsibility. Moral authority only comes after you've been morally responsible. And what does that mean? I just wanted to write down a couple of items that reflect good moral responsibility and corporate ethical judgment. One of them is going to be proper management of corporate resources. That's very important. Obviously, the reason that the companies that we invest in all across the world, and primarily in America, the reason that they're able to make it to the stock exchange or make it to NASDAQ, we're we look for companies that have been good corporate citizens, that have been morally responsible, and at the same time, companies that have been able to add value for the common good. Companies must create jobs that have fair wages, and they have to invest in programs that lift up the community. Leadership, which we talked about, has to be ethical. And the way that you know that is they demonstrate industry best practices. So in most corporate environments, there is a training program now. It's called EOS, and this was an amazing concept of enhancing corporate performance by bringing in experts from the outside to help vet and wash companies of bad habits and practices, very much like we see on a lot of the shows on television where you get a restaurateur, an expert in the industry who comes into a restaurant and tears it apart and finds what's wrong and shows them how to fix it. every company has to take advantage of those programs. EOS is one of those programs. And so I would encourage any small business owner, mid-size, or even large corporate owner to invest in corporate development by engaging the support of others from the outside. Most important, a company has to be able to balance profit goals with the well being of investors or stakeholders. Very, very critical. A company, in order for a company to be a good corporate citizen, that company has to invest in itself. Another sign of good corporate leadership is how does the company handle a crisis? Does the company ignore the crisis? Does the company address the crisis? Or does the company act as though there is no crisis? Well, what you want to look at is how do they handle challenges? Do they handle them openly, honestly? Do they take responsibility? And do they course correct to prevent reoccurrence? The key to business success is one, being able to adopt healthy corporate practices. All of the things that I'm talking about are actually in this book, From Good to Great. The key to the whole thing is being responsive to the needs of your consumer and being responsive to the employees that are a part of your corporate organization. So let's talk about communication. In corporate business, it is important that there is a fair treatment with equal application of how customer issues are handled. So let me give you an example. We all go to Amazon. The reason we use Amazon, and it's so cool, I resisted Amazon forever. I said, I'm not going to use Amazon. I'm going to go to all the local stores and I'm going to buy everything that I want at the local store so that the local stores stay in business. That was a good concept. The reality is, when I look at the fact that if I need a screw or I need a screwdriver and I have to go to Home Depot to get it, that is a lot more time consuming than planning my week. When you have a busy week and you say, okay, I have this thing I need to put together and I can't find the screwdriver, when you can go on Amazon, put a screwdriver and screws in your cart and they're at your house in the afternoon. You do that in the morning, and by the afternoon, the tools that you need are there in your house on your porch. I'm like, come on, this is crazy. I had to give in, and now we use Amazon. Well, Amazon changed the culture, changed the expectation of consumers. Consumers now expect responsiveness. And what does that mean? When a consumer has a complaint, just like in the business that my wife and I run, my customers mean everything to me. I let them get it off of their chest. If they're frustrated or upset or disappointed about something, or if they've had a bad experience in working with some of the providers that we work with, I have to listen to them. I have to accept what they say. And then I have the obligation of doing not only doing something about it for them, but I have to do something that prevents the reoccurrence possibly to another person. Otherwise, I'm going out of the world backward. If an issue is brought to a business owner and the business owner chooses not to address the issue, that doesn't fix the issue. We don't get the luxury of acting as though the issue is a non-issue because we don't want it to be an issue. I'll give you an example. I had a client to call our office and say, listen, I had the worst experience at this particular appointment with this particular worker. Really? And I said, "Give me the details." They give me the details, and it was a very lengthy, very clear, dereliction of responsibility. The worker failed to do their job. Now, I could say, "No, don't worry about that. They're new, they're just getting started. They're normally really good, etcetera, etc." You can't do that. I had to say, "Thank you. I apologize. We are going to correct this." Sometimes what we have to do, we have to own it. And that's the critical responsibility that comes with business ownership. We have a responsibility of owning it. If we are a pastor of a church, if we are the leader of a group, if we are the owner of a corporation, you have no choice. We have to own it. And when we own it, it's only when we hear a problem, accept the problem, and own the problem that we can actually fix it. If we hear it, understand it, and ignore it, we can't even fix it because we, in our minds, the ability to actually fix and problem solve is a gift that's God given, but it's only accessible if we acknowledge that there is an issue. So, if you're a business owner or if you are on a corporate team, this is going to be very, very valuable information. And the last thing that I want to leave you with is the products. The products in a company must exceed regulatory standards with a strong quality control. So whatever the product is that's offered, it cannot be the minimum. It's got to exceed expectation. And with that being said, that is how we go from good to great. So good is good. And a good company is a good company and a good person is a good person. But I would submit to you that the transition from good to great, I believe this is where we want to be, especially at this point where we're over the age of 44. We have more years behind us and we may have fewer years ahead of us. We have to be the best that we can be. Now, again, today we only talked about two people, the baby boomers, that need to recalibrate, reacclimate. We need to reinvent ourselves. At the same time, we want to outwork, outpace, outlearn, and actually, it allows us to out earn when we do these things, and it'll allow us the opportunity to outlive. Because I find that the busiest people seem to stay around the longest. And then for those of us that are in business, make the decision to learn more, be more, do more. Don't just meet the expectation, exceed expectation. It's always good to under promise and over deliver. Do everything with the end in mind. Thank you so much for joining, and we have some great episodes coming up. We have again an interview with one of the Motown greats. I believe you will absolutely enjoy it. So make certain to find us wherever podcasts are found. Tune in or look on Facebook and see if it's been uploaded there. Take care for now. And listen, as we usually end, I want to say, seize the day and make it a great one.